Hi, my name is Janice Learmond-Criqui, and I have been asked to do a video on how to calculate your NIS weekly or monthly with respect to the employer taking this money from your salary and paying it to the National Insurance Board. So I've put together just a few slides because it's very simple. When you see how simple it is, you'll be amazed. All right. This first slide talks about the earnings, classes, and contributions using the current table that NIB uses, which is dated September 5th, 2016. Now, let's go through each column. The first column talks about the earning classes. This all depends on the weekly earnings that you make. All you got to do is just look at the table, right? You'll see all the various figures available, right? Yes, this is it. And also the monthly earnings as well, which comes into this column. Then the assumed average weekly earnings, which is worked out by NIB, are these figures here. And then the employee's weekly contribution are these figures here. And the employer's weekly contribution, it will be this column here. So on the next two slides, I will show you how to do it on a piece of paper yourself every month. And then the total weekly contribution will be this column. And then you have what is called the Z-class weekly. Z-class is for people who are collecting the NIB pension and have decided that, you know what, I'm bored of staying at home and staying at four walls. I want to go out, meet people, do different things every day. So what happens then that the employer will now pay the figures in this column for those individuals. All right, so let us go to the next slide. Here's an example. Now, it is said that the employee is supposed to pay 1/3 from their salary and the employer 2/3 on behalf of the employee. So your salary, let's say it's $10,000. Now, how do we know which of the figures we have to use? Let's go back. This person in the example is in between 9,273 to 10,312.99. So this is the bracket that the $10,000 earner have to look at. All right. Then we want to see what is the employee's weekly contribution. The weekly don't worry about this column, please. I know. Don't worry about it. So you're not focusing on this. You're focusing on what your weekly contribution is supposed to be. And that weekly contribution figure is 99.40. The employer's weekly contribution, if you go along here, will be $198.20. Those are the only two figures you need to worry about. Okay, so when we go to the next slide, you see the 99.40 in the column, in the row, the cell here, and the 198.80 under employer. Now, what you have to remember is that because it's a weekly figure, what you have to do is to open your calendar and count how many Mondays in the month. There sometimes may be 4, there may sometimes be 5. For the month of March, as you will see on the next slide, there are 4 Mondays. Okay? So what you're supposed to do is to take this figure, 99.40, multiply it by by 5, because there are 5 Mondays for the month of January. Okay, That will give you a total of $497. That is what's supposed to be coming out of your salary. Not a cent more, not a cent less. The employer is supposed to pay $994. So in total, the employer, not you, the employer will pay to NIB on your behalf $1,491. Okay? That is why we put per week here on this row. So if you get a pen and paper, draw your lines, set it up exactly how you see it here. Go to your calendar, count the amount of Mondays in the month, and then look back at the table, see where your salary falls, which bracket it falls under. You take that figure, you take the employer figure, and then you multiply each figure by 5. And then you work out what the total amount is that the employer is supposed to pay on your behalf. So your pay slip should show you $99. No, sorry, show you $497 coming out of your salary. Okay, let's go to the next slide. I took a lesser figure of a salary of $2,000. So, as you will see, as at March 25th, right, which is the last Monday in March of this month, there are 4 Mondays. So let's go back and see where we're picking up the figure for the employee and for the employer. So let's go back to the first slide. So we go into monthly earnings. We're looking for the $2,000 bracket. So here it is, 1,950 to 2,642.99. All right, this is the bracket you will fall under because you're only earning $2,000 a month. Then you go across to where it says employees weekly contribution. There's your $23.30. The employer is supposed to pay $46.60. You don't need to worry about any of the other columns. Okay, so you're going back to the last slide. There's the $23.30. There's the $46.60. So we take each figure and multiply by 4. And we will get $93.20. The employer has to pay $186.40. So again, the employer will pay to NIB on your behalf $279.60. But remember, you will only see $93.20 on your payslip. Not a cent more, not a cent less. All right? So I did a simpler breakdown here for anyone who, needs a little more help. And then just a note, during your working life, please keep your pay slips safe. Why I tell you that? Because you may need it to prove to NIB that the employer took money from your salary, right? And was supposed to pay it into NIB. Then you keep a list of all the companies you worked at. Not all companies you worked at will be open for business when you get to 60 or maybe 65, if ever the rules change for pensionable age. Every year, very important, every year, go to NIB and get a contributions statement. That is the only way you will know that your contributions are being paid every month. If it is not being paid, then NIB will launch an investigation with the employer as to why they have not paid your contributions and the employer's contributions. So that's a wrap for tonight. Thank you very much for watching. If you like my video, like it, share with friends and family, and you can subscribe to the channel because there are lots of other videos that I would love to put on for people who call me and say, oh, by the way, you know, I found your other video. Can you do one on how to work out my NIS contribution? So this is why I'm doing this video tonight. It is going to be posted on YouTube and will be available to the general public. Bye for now.